to this computer. Recording in progress. Kaitlyn, over to you. Do your funky thing.
Okay, hi. Thank you, everybody. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is fear. And a caveat, I've spent 20 years helping people achieve financial goals and 10 years helping people achieve business goals. And I was like, you don't have to feel the fear. You can go around it. You don't have to feel all of it. Let's just go around it. It will be easier. And it doesn't work. It stagnates your own growth. So I'm going to share with you what happens when you're feeling the fear so that you can actively move through it and not create chaos in your mind of, oh my God, it's all this thing where it's just an emotion that needs to be processed. And then how to take micro action because it's so important, especially as business owners. We do so many new things. We need to constantly be doing new things to grow and expand. But then when we let fear stop us, it can just absolutely derail us. So let's get started. I'm going to share a presentation. And I want this to be interactive as well. So if anyone has any questions or if you there's anything in particular you want to add to this, please just drop it in the chat. So breaking through the comfort zone, overcoming fear to grow your business. So when we talk fear, there's actually four components we're going to be speaking on, which is so important. When I first started, I thought it was just comfort. I'm in my comfort zone. I'm great. I'm happy. I want to get to my growth. I thought it was just those two components. Upon doing all this work, I've realized that we have to feel the fear to learn and grow. You cannot move from your comfort zone of never posting on social media, for example, and then it growing to 1 million, then you're fine. There's layers to this. So we're going to talk about the layers. So when I first started my business in 2019, I purely started out of necessity because I'm Australian, my partner's English, my English visa had expired and we wanted to stay together. So we decided we'll travel Southeast Asia for a year together. And I was like, I need to make money online. How do I do this? So that first year I made $12,000. And it was a year into my business, I found out I was 4 months pregnant. So 12,000 was not going to sustain our family. So I was like, I need to do things I've never done before in order to grow more than I ever have grown before. So that's when I realized it was the leaning into the fear, which unlocks the growth, because the first year I would just bypass all the fear and just try and do things that was as nice as possible to my nervous system. So the second year I then made 180,000 in my business, working 2 hours a day because I gave birth and my son was very young. So the thing with this is if you want to grow your business, you just need to do it in a very intentional, specific way. That normally requires confronting your fear and moving through it. So I've now surpassed 1 million in my business through leaning into fear, and I'm letting you know that it is very possible and you can do this. So where you are now and what you want, there's a gap. So we're going to talk about that gap. That gap is called change. And when there's change, this is what it looks like. So change comes in, you start in your comfort zone, then the fear arises when you're trying to do something new. Then as you move through the fear, you get to the learning zone where you acquire new skills, you feel better about yourself. Then you get to the growth zone and go, I can do anything. And then you repeat the cycle. So the cool thing with this is when I first started this, I'd be in the fear zone for like 2 months. I was freaking out. And now for me, I'm in the fear zone for maybe 10 minutes, half an hour, depending on the day. So it actually collapses time in which you stay in the fear zone because it's a pattern. So you can shorten the amount of time you actually feel the fear. So the three things we're going to talk about is in order to move through fear, you have to recognize it. This isn't about positive thinking. I'm okay, when really you're feeling the fear. You need to acknowledge it. Be aware of what you're feeling. Acknowledge it. Be curious about what's going on in your mind and body. What's the stories playing? And then we build resilience in being able to confront the fear, which is the learning zone, and then we take an action, which is the growth zone. So this is what we're going to talk about. So the first step is being aware of how you're feeling. So can you guys put in the chat, how do you feel when fear comes in? Because for me, I had to do a talk for the first time a couple of months ago, and I don't really go on social media a lot. But for 6 straight days, I was on social media just doom scrolling over and over and over again. I was like, what is actually going on? And I was like, oh, it's because I'm procrastinating, because I'm scared of what's about to happen. And it's that awareness of being able to go, oh, this is what's happening. Yeah, you procrastination and you get stuck. Yep. And it's so true. And we get stuck because we feel the fear and we don't know how to move forward. And so I'm going to teach you when you're feeling stuck how to move forward. So noticing, and so it's really good to be aware of it, especially like procrastination and distracted. So if you are procrastinating, there is something behind why you're doing that, and it is often fear. So just being aware of going, oh, I'm procrastinating. Okay, what's going on here? So for me, when I was procrastinating and just doom scrolling for 6 straight days, I was like, well, what's actually going on here? I'm scared. Okay, cool. Let's complete that sentence. What am I scared about? I'm scared that I won't be good enough with this. Okay, why? Then you just have that conversation because the thing is, if you sit in it and just go, I'm scared, but it's a full stop, you don't complete the sentence. Imposter syndrome, yes. Imposter syndrome is a big one. We could talk about that as well. So imposter syndrome is like there's a divide between who you are and what you want to achieve. So the gap I showed before. So especially when it comes to imposter syndrome, it's where we could go, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not the person to do this. I can't take the action. So what's really important is when you're feeling imposter syndrome, you want to take a micro action because every bit of micro action builds confidence, which helps alleviate the imposter syndrome, but it also builds momentum that you can keep doing it even when you feel the fear. I also call it chaos. So anytime I have chaos in my mind, my thoughts are not stopped. My body's feeling all dysregulated. That's when I'm like, cool, there's fear underneath this. And the thing is, fear thrives in inaction. So the longer I doom scrolled on social media, the longer you sit on the couch and watch TV and don't take the action on what you need, the harder it's going to be to move. So the first thing is just be aware of what's going on. No judgment, just awareness. And then what we do is this is what you will feel in each of these 4 quadrants we spoke about. So when you're in your comfort zone, so let's say you're like, cool, I want to double my revenue. I want to double my revenue this month and I'm really excited and you get inspired, you're excited, you're like, yeah, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's about 2 days later where you start having those doubts like, am I going to be able to do that? I don't think I can do that. That's merely you've shifted outside your comfort zone and you're moving towards your fear zone. So when you're in your comfort zone, you're regulated, which is what's familiar to you. Doesn't mean it's what you necessarily want, but it's familiar. You know what to expect. It's the same cycle, it's the same pattern, it's the same outcome. The thing with this is our brains are there to keep us safe. It keeps us safe by keeping us in the familiar because what you've done before has kept you alive. So your brain will keep trying to keep you in that cycle so you stay alive. So when the fear zone arises, it's your brain telling you, this is something new. I don't know how to keep you safe. Please stay back in your comfort zone. But you get to choose if you retreat back to your comfort zone or if you keep moving forward. And 98% of the things we think is going to happen never happen anyway. So what happens is immediately after your comfort zones, let's say you set a goal and you're like, yeah, I'm nice and cozy in my comfort zone. It's familiar, but I want to do something new. A few days later, your fear zone will arise because you've chosen to do something new. So your body's like, cool, how do we keep her safe? How do we keep her in her comfort zone so she doesn't do this new thing that we don't know how to keep her safe in? So what will happen is you'll make excuses as to why now's not the right time to do it. You won't feel regulated. There'll be chaos in your mind and chaos in your body because your body is signaling to your mind it doesn't know how to keep you safe. So it's going to be going like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But it's not the truth. It's just your body, it's how it's wired, and it's okay. You can go into like slight panic. So there'll be fight, flight, or freeze mode. For me, I freeze. So anytime I'm like, I just want to go to bed and hide under the covers, I'm like, what am I scared of right now? So getting curious about it. Also in the fear zone, you don't know what to expect. Everything feels like the rug's been pulled out from underneath you and everything's just up here and it's like, what's going on? You also, for me, I feel anger and frustration because I cannot control this outcome because it's something new. So anytime I feel frustrated or anger, I know I'm doing something new. I cannot control the outcome, and that's the point because you want to create something new. So it's being able to ground yourself in those moments and go, what do I know to be true? What is it that I can control in this moment? I can control my breath. I can control what I choose to think. I can control my nervous system and bring it back down so it starts feeling a bit more regulated. You also have my excuse, Hazel. My excuses are not enough time around the kids and scared of trying so hard and failing anyway. Yeah. The big thing with that, Hazel, is when you're scared of trying so hard and failing anyway, you're already feeling like you're failing without even doing anything. So even if you just tried, you're still feeling the same thing, but you're taking action anyway, which is going to start dissipating the fear, which is a really powerful thing to do. It's not about, climbing the mountain in a day. It's about just getting to the base. Then the next day, maybe just taking 2 steps. Then the next day, maybe taking a step. Meet yourself where you are. And especially as mums, we have a lot going on. And as business owners, there's so much that pulls our attention. But it's just deliberately and consciously going each day, take a micro action step towards what you want, because that solidifies that you're not staying stuck, that you can do this. And the more you move, the more your fear moves, the more your emotions move, the more those thoughts that are spiraling start to move towards maybe I can do this. Also, you spiral. The spiral for me is always what if? What if this doesn't work? But what if it does work? But what if I can't do this? What if I have to give up my relationship for this? So when our brain works off closed loops. So if you have a what if, there is a trillion different scenarios to follow what if. So what's a really wonderful practice in this scenario is if you're spiraling with what if, I want you to close the loop. And the loop would be like, what if I fail? What would you actually do? What are the action steps you would take? What you're doing then is you're giving your brain like a support network of how to act if this was to occur. But also ask yourself, what if it does work? Women tend to be more scared of success than failure because we fear ourselves being fully successful. It's this whole way that we were brought up. So ask yourself, what if it does work? What then? And then just allow yourself to feel whatever comes up and process it. And then what I always find is I feel different. If I'm in my fear zone, it just feels different. I used to go, this is new, this is a change, I don't like it. Now I'm like, oh, this is just different. That's all it is. It's just a bit different because I want something different. So I'm going to feel a bit different along the journey of it, and that's okay. You're also going to feel stress and discomfort, like something's off, because your cortisol levels are going to come up and you're just going to be using the excuses, and then you're going to think and feed into the excuses, the what ifs. Then your your emotions are going to match those thoughts. So what we want to do here is what's really important is to regulate ourselves. And I'll teach you some methods of how to just regulate yourself with that. Because our bodies are built off patterns. Our minds are built from patterns. So if every time we feel fear, we go to the spiral of what if, we go to procrastination, excuses, that's our pattern. But if we choose to regulate ourselves so we can actually start making more logical steps, we stop buying into that pattern that keeps us stuck and we choose a new pattern. So this is how our brain at work. This is how our brain works. It's the coolest thing. So one thing, an immediate thing to do to help you regulate your nervous system, because when you're in the fear, your nervous system is firing off. What's happened is your amygdala in your brain is going, ah, we're not safe, we're not safe, we're not safe. So your body and your mind is playing on repeat. I can't do this. This isn't okay. Keep them safe, keep them safe, keep them safe. What EFT tapping does, it's called emotional freedom technique. This helps you go from, say, a 10 out of 10 stress to a 4 out of 10 stress. And what happens is when you're at a 4 out of 10 stress, you're more regulated and your thoughts will become more regulated. Your emotions will become more regulated. So you're creating a new pattern with that. So you tap on certain points in your body like this for EFT tapping because it touches the meridian points in your body, which signals to the amygdala that you're safe, which creates a new pattern for you. So if you're able to do an EFT tapping, which can be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you bring it down, bring your nervous system down, your thoughts will start to calm. You won't be in that, what the hell do I do? And then you can go, cool, what's the next one action step I take? And you take it from a more calm place. You've created a new action. You've created a new pattern. And it's really, really supportive. So, other things to do when you're feeling the fear is obviously EFT, meditate. Meditate is just noticing your breath. Box breathing is really good. After I had my son and I was postpartum depression and PTSD, and I really didn't know how to do anything in my life. I just breathed into the count of four, held for the count of four, breathed out for the count of four, held to the count of four, just to regulate my nervous system and to teach it that we can be calm amongst chaos and a crying baby and everything different. And that really helped. The other cool thing about this is you cannot feel gratitude and fear at the same time. They're on two far ends of the spectrum. So when you're in deep fear and you're trying to grab onto something to control it, and you're trying to, and you're angry and you're frustrated and you're like, ah, what the hell? It's a really beautiful moment to imagine your fear as your child and just holding your child and just going, you know what? I love you so much. I've done this with my son so many times when I'm feeling the fear. I just hold him and I just go, I'm so grateful for your eyelashes. I'm so grateful for your hair. I'm so grateful for your health. And then that in itself brings down my nervous system. And then I go, cool, what action step do I need to take now? And then also storytelling. So we tend to have a story we play in the background, especially with imposter syndromes and excuses. And I'm a mother, so I can't do this and I can't do that. But when you start to create a new story, we attach stories to emotions. So when you're in the fear zone, what I do now is I just go, oh, this is the moment everything unlocks for me. This is the moment I become the woman who I want to be. This is the moment that I get to see what I'm really capable of. And that invokes a new emotion within me. So I'm not like pushing the fear away. I'm welcoming it and telling a new story about what the fear means. It doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. It means I'm doing the right things because I'm growing. Also, working out. Working out is so good, especially if you're angry and frustrated. Doing a workout will move your endorphins, it will move your body, and a walk in nature. If you spend 10 to 15 minutes in nature, you will you'll calm down your nervous system as well. And the whole point of this is so that you can take action because staying in fear without taking action will keep you in fear longer. So the thing with this, again, it's not about pushing the fear away and going, I can't feel it, because you are, it's an emotion. You're supposed to feel it. We're human beings, we feel emotions, but you want to welcome it so you're not pushing it away and being anxious about the fear you're feeling. So welcoming fear in your body can work because it allows you to acknowledge and observe the physical sensations of fear without resisting them, which can actually lessen their power, enabling you to move forward despite the fear. So potentially leading to personal growth and overcoming anxieties by facing them head on instead of avoiding them. Essentially, by not fighting against the fear, you can learn to manage it better. So is there been a time where anyone's like, you felt the fear? What's your normal response? What is it that you tend to do when you're feeling the fear? Do you run away? Do you just go, I can do this? What's your habits with this? And with this, fear doesn't disappear because we are human. We will continue to have emotions. We have to feel the fear to grow. It only takes 90 seconds to feel an emotion, but it's when we get trapped in our brains, in our minds of what this means, why I can't do this, the what if spiral, that emotion can't be properly processed because you don't process through your mind, you process through your body. And that's when you feel the fear, but instead choose to do an EFT, a meditation, a walk in nature, dance, workout. You're moving your body, which in turn moves the fear through your body. So you can start taking action. And then what happens is when you get out of the fear zone, when you do all these practices, you then go into what's called the learning zone. I love this zone. This is where you deal with challenges and problems. You have a new sense of confidence, a new sense of clarity. Clarity always comes in your brain after you've moved through the fear. You also obtain new skills. You feel a bit more energy, like excited. So for me, when I'm in the fear zone, I'll wake up a bit groggy, a bit like, ugh. But then as soon as it's dissipated, the next day I'll wake up and I'll literally bounce out of bed and I'll just be like, oh my God, I feel really good. It's because I've moved through that. You learn to adapt and change, and you learn to believe that you can adapt and change, that you have got this, you can do this. You literally feel like you've gotten to the other side, like all the cobwebs and everything's cleaned out. And you're like, oh, this feels a bit nicer. You feel a little bit more at ease as well, and you're excited to try new things. So, oh, do you want me to let Laura? Yeah, cool. And then with the learning zone, there's new ideas and opportunities. So, when you're in your comfort zone, you're like, I want to double my revenue this month, and it's possible you can do it. But it's possible if you actually feel and welcome the fear without pushing it away. If you push the fear away, you're pushing money away. I know it's going to sound a bit weird, but fear is just an emotion, which is just energy, and money is just energy. So if you're pushing the emotion, the energy away, you'll also be subsequently pushing money away. So you want to welcome it and just go, cool, I've got this, I can handle this. Do some regulating activities, and then you'll move through to the learning zone. And gratitude is often seen as an antidote to fear, as the two emotions cannot coexist simultaneously in the brain. So practicing gratitude can significantly reduce anxiety, and anxiety is just feeling the fear of feeling an emotion. That's all it is. So we want to welcome it to counteract that anxiety. And fear by shifting focus to positive aspects of life, essentially diluting fear and fostering courage instead. So the thing with this is all about emotional freedom and emotional intelligence and being able to be aware of how am I actually feeling? I'm feeling fear. Cool. Why am I feeling fear? Because there's a lot going on. Okay, cool. What do I need? What does my body need right now? I need a walk in nature. Great. I'll take a walk in nature. Now I'm feeling more regulated. What do I need to do? What's the micro action step I can take? I'm going to send the pitch. I'm going to do the talk. I'm going to finish my book. It's all of those tiny things you can do, and every time you get in that fear zone, you've done it before. You can do it again. And it just gets quicker and quicker and quicker. And it just becomes kind of part of your process. And what happens is after the learning zone, that's when we get to the growth zone. So that's when, if you wanted to manifest double revenue that month, that's when it happens because you've moved through what's required to move through. You've set new goals, you find your purpose, you live your dreams, you realize your aspirations, you feel a sense of self-empowerment because you've gotten to the other side. You feel at ease and grateful that you did it, and you believe and know that you can conquer anything because you actually did the thing that scared you and felt the fear without pushing it away. And it just took 90 seconds, and then you could take the action. Your world seems a little bit bigger and a little bit better as well. And remember, exercise can help with fear by reducing stress, improving mood, and distracting from negative thoughts. It can also help build resilience against anxiety. So remember, ladies, you're here. Your desires are there. You have to go through this. Believe me, if there was a simpler way, I would have found it. I would have bypassed the fear completely. I did not want to feel any emotion, but it didn't work. It just stagnated my growth. And then when I actually decided to feel the fear, feel my emotions, money came more and more because I allowed myself to do the things I didn't think I could do, which helps you grow, which helps you learn. And then you just repeat this cycle and it gets easier and easier because you know what you need to do. So what I would suggest is the next time you set a goal and the fear starts coming up, the excuses start coming up, write down these 4 points: the comfort, the fear, the learning, the growth. When the fear comes up, what happens for you in your body when the fear comes up so you can be aware of it? And it's a beautiful thing as well when you're in the fear to actually go, what am I learning from this? Because when you start asking questions like that, you switch to the learning zone, then the growth zone. So know that it's possible. You can do this. Just feel the emotion in your body, not in your mind. And fear is the sign that you're on the edge of something great. So move through it, not around it. Again, I tried to move around it and it did. I was like, I'm going to do this without having to feel it. It doesn't work. If you want a 22-page workbook to actually recognize this and understand this, you can download it free from kaitlyncook.co/fear zone. But thank you so much. That was really fun. Let me know what resonated and what comes up for you guys when fear, what's fear stopped you and where is it you want to go with your business? Because it's very possible to grow.
Caitlin, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Has anyone got any questions they'd like to, or questions and observations that you'd like to share with Caitlin?
I was going to say, I just found that really